Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rick, and today we're going to talk about Sir Winston Churchill, the British Bulldog. his cruising history is pretty interesting, so we're going to kind of touch on that. So if you want to light up a cigar, actually got a Cohiba Puro Dominicana in Churchill size. Fire one up, light a pipe up, grab a cup of coffee. Let's talk Winston Churchill a little bit. Sir Winston was born in 1874 in November. So he literally just had his 150th birthday. That's kind of crazy, right? He's such a powerful name in our lives. You know, being in our 50s, you know, we've always learned about Winston Churchill and the politician side of him and the military side of him. But he was born 150 years ago. That seems like a long time ago, right? You know, we are all in our 50s. That's 3 times our life when Winston was born. So, you know, I am not a scholar on Winston Churchill. I just find him very interesting. So I dug into his cruising history. So I'd like to kind of go over that, since that's kind of what we do on this channel. We light up a cigar, we grab a cup of coffee, and we talk cruising. Winston didn't sail kind of like we do now, right? It was more business related. What I found is he was on about 10 different ships. A lot of Cunard and a lot of P&O. If I remember right, P&O Cruise Lines is still the oldest cruise line in the world right now. That's kind of what I remember. Not sure if that's true. As for his cruising, he didn't cruise like we cruise now. It was more official duties. It wasn't really private, personal, although he did usually invite people with him. But it's pretty interesting, you know, because you think, you know, he sailed from Southampton to New York several times, and what I found on like the itineraries and everything, that took about 5 days. So when he used to make that trip, he was on the Cunard Queen Mary a lot. And what I found is he sailed the Queen Mary about 9 times. And on the list of names for the passengers, they said he would always use Colonel Warden. So his name Churchill wouldn't just stick out like a sore thumb. So the guy was always thinking, you know. I thought that was really, really interesting that he used an alias of Colonel Warden. So yeah, to kind of break down the ships he's been on. He's been on about 10 different ships, and I do have a list here. There's no way I could have remembered all of them, and some of them are even hard enough to say, right? So his main ship was the Queen Mary. He traveled that 9 times, like I said, and that was really his headquarters at sea for those 5 days. You know, Winston would, you know, he never went cheaply on anything. It doesn't matter if it was his top hat or his scotch or his cigars. You know, if he says he's okay with anything, just as long as it's the best. So I always thought that was a pretty cool quote from Sir Winston. A couple other Cunard ships he was on. He was on the Etruria in the Franconia. And what I found is the Franconia was the last ship that he sailed during the war. And he said he liked those older and smaller ships. So I guess he wouldn't really like our ships nowadays. He likes the older and smaller. We're always bigger, higher, longer, wider, and newer nowadays. So he had a different thought process for sure. He also sailed P&O a lot. I have a list here. He sailed the Ganges in 1897 from Bombay to Brindisi. The P&O Rome, the P&O Carthage. Some of these are hard to say. He sailed that in 1899. So he liked the P&O and the Cunard line for sure. I don't know how many cruise lines there actually were back then, and they weren't even really called cruise lines yet, right? They're ocean liners. Still very interesting. And there's a couple more that he sailed. The SS Induna and the SS Britannia. On September 11th, 1896, he sailed the Britannia for Bombay. And then he also sailed some British Royal Navy ships, the HMS Enchantress and the HMS Wales, Prince of Wales ship. So he liked the cruise. He liked the cruise like we do. And, I mean, he probably was in his 50s like we were. So, man, if Sir Winston's out there cruising in his 50s, we should be doing it too, right? He's a very interesting guy. I'd love to hear what you guys think of Winston Churchill. Do you like what he stood for? Do you like his speeches? They say he gave over 2,500 speeches. And it's a really cool process of how he used to write them all down, and he would just change them constantly before he would give the speech. So he was really meticulous on how he presented and offered his speeches to the public. So what part of Winston Churchill do you guys think is interesting? And for the random nonsense section of Shoot the Breeze, we're going to just talk about real quick of what Winston enjoyed throughout the day. He would always start the day with a newspaper, a scotch and soda, and a cigar. They said that he would be in his bed for a couple hours, reading the newspaper, getting all caught up. He didn't have Facebook or the World Wide Web, so he was all old school, which I kind of respect that. So yeah, he would start his day with a scotch and soda. They say he liked Johnny Walker Red and Johnny Walker Black. Then he would switch to Paul Roget Champagne during the afternoon. And then he would finish the night with a cognac. They said he would normally go through roughly 10 cigars a day. I don't know if I do 10 cigars during the summer. I really enjoy a pipe over a cigar. But for this Winston Churchill Shoot the Breeze, I had to grab a Churchill size. Cohiba, he smoked the Romeo and Julieta, the Cuban cigar. We can't get those in the U.S. So, but yeah, I just find Winston just really interesting. He had positives and negatives, just like all politicians and most people. But I find him very interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode talking about Sir Winston Churchill for his 150th anniversary of his birth. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out with me. If you could like and subscribe to the channel, if you like this content, that really helps. Then we could just keep striving forward to bring you guys good material and just shooting the breeze, right? We're just sitting outside, just enjoying a beautiful day here in South Carolina. So I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll catch you next time.